Stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We call this meeting of the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board to order for April 2nd, 2012. And we will do that at 6:33 and ask for a roll call.
Bernie Bassett.
Here.
Thomas Wood.
Here.
Martin Manick.
Here.
Paul Lemoyne.
Here.
Gerard Renadette.
Here.
James Coffey.
Here.
Rick Collins.
Resolution 114, approving the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of March 19, 2012 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Have a motion. Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne, any discussion? I just want to see if there's okay. If not, we'll have a roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, this is a portion of our meeting where we invite anyone who would like to address the board to do so. Ask you to state your name, your address, and try to limit your comments to 5 minutes.
That's be me, I guess.
That would be an opportunity.
This is it. I was here before. I've been going over this water bill issue.
I'd ask you for the record again, please state your name, your address.
Richard Kluge, 2038, 22B.
Hold on a second.
I'm the electrician today.
Okay, now I can.
You ready?
Yep.
Richard Kluge, 2038, Route 22B, Morrisonville, New York. I'm here to discuss my water bill and the registered letter I got from the town regarding it. Which basically, my last water bill that came with this confirms my point. My water usage is consistent, and your loss of 263,000 gallons of water isn't on me. My bill is consistent. I got a bill for $32, $31 and change, and if I can approach, it would be consistent with all my other bills going back 29, 30, 23, 30, 30, 28, 32. This bill after your new meter is 3128. Consistent with all my previous bills. And you got a discrepancy of 263,000 gallons of water. I don't believe it's mine. I didn't use it. And I paid my bill. Once I paid my bill, as far as I'm concerned, that contract or billing period is done. There was no major flooding at my house, other than the river, but that's where I stand. You know, if my bill was $40 or grossly higher than normal, I might agree that your meter was losing a few gallons. But your new meter, my next bill, is consistent with all my other bills, going back a year. You got a meter problem, you got a problem with your equipment. I don't believe it's the taxpayer's problem. It's only $400 to you, but for me it's quite a bit. I'm on a fixed income. And I've contested it right along. I tried to deal with the water department, as I spoke with you today, Bernie. He had recommendations for me to do, which I did, which cost me close to $200. So he could do the paperwork required to remove this $400 excessive bill. And it got stuck on my taxes. And you had to go through the numbers and take it off my taxes. And now you're going to put it back on. When do I get a straight answer? I didn't use the water. If you could prove to me I used the water, I'd be happy to pay the bill. But that hasn't been done. You can't tell me when the water went through, if it was in the last year. But it's been almost a year now that we've been playing with this bill. Or the last 30 years before I moved onto this property. If it was before I moved onto the property, then you got to talk to the previous owner. When I bought the house, every pipe in the house was busted. That's the only leaks I had was when I turned on the water. questions.
Just for your information, Richard, in this meeting, in this setting, and councilors really aren't even updated with the background of this, we normally listen and then respond later. It could be the committee that will go back and revisit this. I did make a call back. I didn't get a chance to call until about 10:05 today.
All right.
I did leave a message.
I got there about 2 minutes to 5, you said not to call it.
Yeah, we had missed, and that's okay. There is some other direction. I really am not in a position to say what right now. I would just say right now, I think the situation is as it is, but if I take you out of the equation, it surfaced some other concerns that would impact you in this situation, that I want to deal with that and then get back to you. So, you know, and I'll be glad to speak with you further about that tomorrow. I've got a meeting scheduled for, I think, next Tuesday that we're going to be looking at that. And it'll be sometime after that I'd be able to give you a little more insight.
I know 2 other neighbors that got these water bills added to their taxes after the town replaced their meters, upgraded. And that's the way it went. They added their taxes and they paid it. I don't know how many others have the same situation. Well, maybe they can afford it. I can't. And the work I did on my house, per suggestion of the water department, unnecessary work I did in my house, was another expense I couldn't afford. So, are we just gonna let this lay now for a little while, or what are we gonna do?
I'm really not going to respond to any, you know, decision or further action this evening.
Okay.
Other
that's
than to leave,
understandable.
you know, which is why I wanted to catch you and be glad, as I said, talk to you further tomorrow. There will be a meeting next week that I think does have bearing. I don't want to imply that it'll go away or that it won't go away. Just there's something else that has surfaced that's very generic to your concern, and we're looking at it. I guess just, you know, for the benefit of counselors, and I want to be careful I don't get into what I said we don't want to do tonight. There was a read for water that was measured to the property that wasn't previously billed. And it's something we'll look at. And I really don't even want to give counselors any more information until I get a little more. And I'll have that after next Tuesday, and I'll make sure certainly you're
I'd like to know when we're gonna address it, and I'd like to be there.
We're addressing it right now.
Okay. I mean, as far as the next time we address it,
Yep, after Tuesday.
after Tuesday.
Nothing will change until then.
Oh, that's fine. I would like to come to whatever meeting it is, though. I don't normally come to your meeting unless I got something to say. This isn't my forum, I don't play this.
Yeah, no, I understand. Just, I just ask you to be, and again, I'm not trying to imply any direction, but, and I'm not trying to be mysterious. I have to acknowledge confidentiality on a situation. And I'll be more than glad to discuss it further with you. But we'll be revisiting issues that are very generic to your concerns, and we'll go from there. And I know we've been talking about this since
2011,
yeah, it's been going on for a while.
yeah.
When that meter was changed, it surfaced some important data.
I've been trying to work with it, that's what I wanna do.
I know you, I know you. And we're trying to make sure we do the right thing, you know.
I see that,
it's
I got a
consistent
certified
also.
letter.
It's
And I'm, that's why I'm.
standard procedure that we follow to this point,
Okay,
okay? Just definitely sometime after Tuesday next week. If I haven't called you, you call me,
I
okay?
will call you.
I know you will. All right?
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else would like to address the board this evening? If not, we will move on and continue the meeting. Resolution 115, abstract 4A-12.
Resolved that the abstract of audited claim number 4A-12, 580 to 678, $482,756.04, and abstract 4A-12, 169 to 182 prepays in the amount of $451,268.84. Be received as reviewed by the audit committee, and the supervisors hereby authorized to pay said abstract.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Rendick, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood?
Yes.
Mark Manick?
Yes.
Paul Moy?
Yes.
Gerard Rendet?
Yes.
Bernie Bassett?
Yes. That's carried. Resolution 116, Dog Control Officers Monthly Report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from David Duquette, Dog Control Officer for the month of March 2012.
Have a motion. Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood?
Yes.
Mark Manick?
Yes.
Paul Moy?
Yes.
Gerard Rendet?
Yes.
Bernie Bassett?
Yes. Resolution 117, Junkyard License Renewal for 24 Flanagan Drive. Rick, I apologize, I'm going to try and slow down a little more in between.
Whereas the town clerk has received an application and fees for a license to operate a junkyard business from Ricky Lyman's Auto, 24 Flanagan Drive. And whereas Steve Imhoff, Code Enforcement Officer, has completed the inspection of the junkyard, and the applicant is in compliance. Now therefore it is resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board does hereby receive and place on file said application and authorize the town clerk to issue a junkyard license to the aforementioned applicant who is in compliance with the letter issued by Steve Imhoff, Code Enforcement Officer for the Town of Plattsburgh. Excuse me. And it be resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, the Town Clerk, and Codes Department.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Rendick, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood?
Yes.
Mark Manick?
Yes.
Paul Moy?
Yes.
Gerard Rendet?
Yes.
Bernie Bassett?
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 118, Junkyard License Renewal for 55 Hammond Lane.
Ricky, or Bernie, would it be all right if I read the resolution? Why not read the resolution?
No,
first?
I'm all right. That's okay.
All right, okay,
If you want to, you have a drink there, you all?
Yep, I just did.
okay.
Whereas the town clerk has received an application and fees for a license to operate a junkyard business from Phyllis Palmer, 55 Hammond Lane. And whereas Stephen Imhoff, Code Enforcement Officer, has completed the inspection of the junkyard, and the applicant is now compliant. Therefore be resolved that the town board, Town of Plattsburgh, does hereby receive and place on file said applicant and authorize the town clerk to issue a junkyard license to the aforementioned applicant in compliance with a letter issued by Steve Imhoff, Code Enforcement Officer. Excuse me. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, Town Clerk, and the Codes Department.
Have a motion.
So,
Mr. Manning, second.
Second.
Mr. Rennigan, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood?
yes.
Mark Manick?
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne?
Yes.
Gerard Rendet?
Yes.
Bernie Bassett?
Yes, the resolution carries.
I don't mind.
Yeah, all five of us will take turns if you want, Rick, fill us out.
Take a break,
What? Seriously,
seriously. I mean,
with your permission? Resolution 12-119, junkyard license renewal for 225 Ruger Street. Whereas the town clerk has received a renewal application and fees for a license to operate a junkyard business from Richard Robbins, Ed Champagne Jr. at 225 Ruger Street. And whereas Steve Imhoff, Code Enforcement Officer, has completed inspection of the junkyard and the applicant is in compliance, now therefore it is resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board does hereby receive and place on file said application and authorize the town clerk to issue a junkyard license to the aforementioned applicant in compliance with the letter issued by Steve Imhoff, Code Enforcement Officer of the Town of Plattsburgh. And is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, the Town Clerk, and the Codes Department.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Lemoyne, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette. I always said third. Any discussion?
There's minor, words that should be in or out, and I know that it isn't gonna make a whole lot of difference on these particular resolutions. There are some other ones too, and I think it's important that we get the format that we're using to change. So I think I'd like to take off after the first resolve, after town board of the, so that it reads town board does hereby receive. And that way, when the next one comes up, the format will
What is yours read, Tom, in the very beginning?
resolve that the town of Plattsburgh Town Board
Okay.
of the does hereby.
That's not supposed to be there. It wasn't in the previous there. Yeah.
I know it wasn't in the previous, because
No,
I
it
checked
was.
the previous, but when I checked this one, it's in it, which is why I asked.
Yeah, it's in.
Because we could change the one original, we could get it. If we do this one time, then
Yeah.
we wouldn't have this anymore.
Well, I'm not sure, because these used to read that the town board of the town of Plattsburgh, and I thought we had moved it to the town of Plattsburgh Town Board, and the update did get deleted, so. Please be diligent and continue to look for those. It will be struck from the final copy of each. I know we had a motion on 117 by Mr. Renadette, seconded by Mr. Lemoy. Any concerns with that amendment?
No, you take that out.
And Mr. Mannix, Mr. Renadette, 118, concur. We'll take the other out, just to be formal, and we'll do the same on this one. Did you see anything else there, Tom?
I will.
You read these so many times, you sometimes skip over the obvious. Any other discussion? Roll call as amended.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Bennett,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
George Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution is carried. Resolution 120, authorization to bid for Treadwell's Mills tennis court maintenance. Rick, do you want to jump back, or do you want,
No. That's-
Marty, go ahead.
Whereas the Parks and Recreation Department is responsible for the maintenance of 8 sets of tennis courts in the town of Plattsburgh, and whereas Ms. Defia, Recreation Director, would like to advertise for the purchase of tennis resurfacing and painting work to be done on Treadwell's Mills tennis courts, therefore be it resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to have an advertisement published in the Press Republican for sealed bids with a non-collusive bid form entitled Tennis Court Maintenance, returnable on or before Friday, April 27th, 2012 at 3 p.m. prevailing time at the Town of Plattsburgh Office Complex, 151 Banker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, 12901, at which time the town clerk will publicly open the bids. And be it further resolved that specification forms for this contract may be obtained at the town clerk's office during regular business hours. And it is further resolved that the town of Plattsburgh Town Board reserves the right to reject any and all bids offered. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, town clerk, and Parks and Recreation Director.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Bennett,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
George Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution is carried. Anyone else like to take it? I'll help you through this, Rick. Resolution 121, Deputy Dog Control Officers Agreement.
Whereas the town is desirous of entering into an agreement to provide occasional on-call dog control services to the town of Plattsburgh, and whereas Mr. Charles Grimshaw, a resident of the town of Plattsburgh, is desirous of furnishing said services to the town, effective immediately until December 31st, 2012, therefore be it resolved that after final review by the town attorney, the supervisor be authorized to enter into the attached agreement with Mr. Grimshaw to provide dog control services in the town of Plattsburgh upon the terms and provisions set forth herein, and it be further resolved that after execution of said agreement, a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, town clerk, pool insurance, and the dog control officer.
Have a
moved.
motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any
Should
discussion?
I ask that we take the word attached off and put an agreement, because none of us have an attached agreement? We've all seen it, but it's not attached to this resolution, so I think we should put an agreement.
I have no problem with that. Mr. Mannix?
Sounds fine with me.
As amended. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Minick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 122, independent contractor for assessor's office and data collector appraisal services. I'll take my turn. Whereas the town of Plattsburgh has a need for real property data collection services, after requesting services from qualified contractors, the assessment department wishes to enter into an agreement with appraisal services to provide services as noted in the attached agreement to meet the town's assessment needs as an independent contractor with a fee total not to exceed $30,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Plattsburgh, a municipal corporation organized and existing under and by virtue of the laws of the state of New York, with offices and principal place of business at 151 Baker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, part of the first part, and appraisal services, the contractor, now with offices at 9 Maple Ridge Drive, West Shazy, New York, 12992, part of the second part, in consideration of the promises, mutual covenants, wishes to enter into an agreement for services, and it is further resolved that appraisal services is an independent contractor and shall not be considered an employee or agent for the town as a contractor, is hereby prohibited from assigning, transferring, conveying, subletting, or otherwise disposing of this agreement or the right, title, or interest herein. And be it further resolved that after review by the town attorney, supervisor is authorized and empowered to execute the attached agreement on behalf of the town of Plattsburgh, that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and to the town assessor. A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Lemoyne, second.
Second.
Mr. Renner.
You know it's coming, right?
I know it's coming.
All right.
Take out the attached.
We would remove as attached from the whereas and
The resolve, the last resolve.
And last result.
And up above, yes.
and the last result.
Yep.
Yep, there is one on the first whereas and the last resolved, and any other place that we may find it upon further review. Mr. Renner, I know you agree, Paul?
Yep.
Any other discussion? As amended, roll call please.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Minick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 123.
Whereas the highway superintendent has been contracted by the Clinton County Emergency Preparedness Office in regard to removing Cedar Hedge Road, a road off Harlan Drive, as a private right-of-way for 911 in the town of Plattsburgh. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board does hereby authorize the request of the highway superintendent and the Clinton County Emergency Preparedness Office relative to removing the above identified private road from all town records, maps, and road lists in the town of Plattsburgh. And it is further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be given to Clinton County Emergency Preparedness Office, Clinton County Planning Board, and a copy given to all department heads in the town of Plattsburgh.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Renner, second Mr. Wood. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Minick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 124, request to attend annual New York Rural Water Association's technical conference.
Okay, whereas Town of Plattsburgh Water Wastewater Department is required to maintain professional training and licensing, and whereas it is in the best interest of the town to remain current and informed concerning changes in water and wastewater regulations, technology updates, and related system efficiencies. Therefore, resolved that Water and Wastewater Director Scott Stoddard be allowed to attend the NYRWA Annual Technical Conference held on April 17th to April 19th, 2012 in Saratoga Springs, and be further resolved that $362 for lodging and meals and $300 registration be charged to the Water and Wastewater Department budget. A copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, the Water Wastewater Director, and one placed in Mr. Stoddard's personnel file.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renner, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoyne, any discussion?
Well, just put the N in and take out the S on files. Not for, not bring it up every time, but just for the draft so that it comes out the next time.
Any other discussion? Roll call as amended.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Minick,
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
George Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 125, request to attend annual New York Rural Water Association's technical conference.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Water Wastewater Department is required to maintain professional training and licensing, and whereas it is in the best interest of the town to remain current and informed concerning changes in water and wastewater regulations, technology updates, and related system efficiencies, therefore be it resolved that Water Wastewater Assistant Superintendent Paul Wright be allowed to attend the NYRWA Annual Technical Conference held on April 17th through the 19th, 2012 in Saratoga Springs, and be it further resolved that $362 for lodging and meals and $300 registration be charged to the Water Wastewater Department budget, and a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, the Water Wastewater Director, and one place in Mr. Wright's personnel file.
I have a motion.
So
Mr. Lemoy, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, any further discussion? Roll call.
Same two words, that's all. We got those.
Tom, for the record, I don't think I caught the second one. I got the S on the file. What was the other?
In front of Mr. Wright.
Put in Mr. Wright's personnel. It's the same as the previous one.
Oh.
Last sentence, water and
Oh.
wastewater director in one place in Mr. Wright's.
Mhm. The brain reads what isn't there sometimes, right? Thank you. Any further discussion on 125? Roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Minick,
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
George Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 126, Planning Board reappointment of Mr. Robert Pearl. Whereas Mr. Robert Pearl is willing to continue serving as a planning board member and his term has now expired. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board is hereby reappoint Robert Pearl as a member of the planning board for a term to expire December 31, 2018. And be it further resolved that Mr. Pearl take an oath of office within 30 days of this resolution. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the planning department head and the budget officer and the town clerk. Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Lemoy, second. Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Minick,
Yes.
Paul Moy.
Yes.
George Renner.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 127, temporary seasonal hire for beautification program and recreation department. Andy Hastings.
Whereas the supervisor has received a letter dated March 23rd, 2012, from Melanie Defiant, Youth Services and Recreation Director, requesting help with family swim program. And whereas Mr. Andy Hastings has been in the previous position last year and is interested in the position and has agreed to work on a temporary full-time at the rate of $10.25 per hour to work from 6/25 through 8/10/2012 when needed. And whereas all employment verification and eligibility has been satisfied, and the Youth Services and Recreation Director recommends that Andy Hastings be appointed to said position. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire Mr. Hastings as a seasonal temporary help in the Parks and Recreation Department, and the certified copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, Youth Director, Ms. Defiant, Pool Insurance, and the Civil Service, Clinton County Department of Personnel for their final approval and filing, and the copy be placed in Mr. Hastings' file. It is further resolved that the town board welcomes Mr. Hastings back to the town with the appreciation for the work he has done in the past.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renner, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy. Any discussion?
Yes, I don't see
No.
that we need the last resolved at all. We haven't done that on anybody else's, whether they've been here before or not. Secondly, Ms. Defiant is the youth director, and in almost every, including the next one, when there's a copy, it just says budget officer, youth director, Cool Insurance, it shouldn't say the name. And then the copy be placed in Mr. Hastings' file. Now, you might disagree with me on the last resolve, but I don't think we should be singling out one person versus all the others.
Personally, I do agree. We haven't done that with this type of appointment. We want to be consistent, so I don't have a problem. Anyone else, any concerns with the
No.
recommendation? We'll take the last resolved out. I'd also like to move Clinton County in front of Civil Service, the Clinton County Civil Service Department of Personnel for final approval.
Bernie, I also think that in the first whereas, we're requesting help with family swim program. I think he's being hired as a building and grounds mower, trimmer.
I thought so also.
I'm certain.
Which is in the letter as part of the mowing crew.
Right,
Isn't he being hired in a supervisory capacity?
as the supervisor of the mowing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mowing crew supervisor. I guess just for the record, as we're doing some amendments on this one, second whereas, we should read Andy Hastings was, I think you might have read it that way even, Paul, in the previous position. And you did leave out the hereby in the last resolve, which I've taken out. And the titles, delete them as defiant. Okay, any other discussion? As amended, roll call please.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 128, temporary seasonal hire for beautification program in Recreation Department, Aaron Hodge.
Whereas the supervisor has received a letter dated March 23rd, 2012 from Melanie Defiant, Youth Services and Recreation Director, requesting help with the beautification program. And whereas Aaron Hodge worked in the position last year and is interested in the position for 2012 and has agreed to work on a temporary full-time basis at the rate of $8.75 per hour to work from 5/14 through 8/17/2012. And whereas all employment verification and eligibility has been satisfied, and the Youth Services and Recreation Director recommends that Aaron Hodge be appointed to said position. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire Mr. Hodge as a seasonal temporary in the Parks and Recreation Department, and a certified copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, Youth Director, Pool Insurance, and the Clinton County Civil Service Department of Personnel for their final approval and filing, and a copy be placed in Mr. Hodge's file.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Manick, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood, I think. Any other discussion?
Yes, that after the second whereas, temporary, full-time, second sentence should be full-time basis.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that should be true of all of them, because it is on the next one. Also, after it says, in that same one, 5/14 to 8/17/2012, it should say after that, when needed, which is what the other two resolutions also say.
Okay, everyone agrees with the insertion of the when needed?
And at the last resolve, it should be placed in Mr. Hodges' file. The "in" is missing, it's been missing on all.
Any other discussion?
Bernie, I think it should just go on record that the Recreation Committee did meet on all of these and recommends all of these. It doesn't say in the resolution, but we did meet on all three of them and concur with.
Which actually, post a work session, we need a draft resolution helping to remind us of that. I think that's really a very good thing to get in and hopefully become a practice. So I would like to formally include that in the resolution going forward. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoyne,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 129, temporary seasonal hire for beautification program in Recreation Department. Elson Reset.
You want me to do that?
Sure.
Whereas the supervisor has received a letter dated March 23rd, 2012 from Melanie Defiant, Youth Services and Recreation Director, requesting help with the beautification program. And whereas Elston Reset worked in the position last year and is interested in the position for 2012, work on a temporary full-time basis at the rate of $10 per hour to work from 4/23 to 10/19/2012 when needed. And whereas all employment verification and eligibility has been satisfied and the Youth Services and Recreation Director recommends that Elston Reset be, Elsenhauer, yeah, I'm thinking about what? Is the season open pretty soon? Recommends that Elston Reset be appointed to said position. Now therefore be resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire Mr. Reset as a seasonal temporary in the Parks and Recreation Department, and a certified copy of this resolution be given to the Budget Officer, Youth Director, Pool Insurance, and Clinton County Civil Service Department personnel for their final approval and filing, and a copy be placed in Mr. Reset's file. Just just for the record, Elson Howard doesn't play anymore, but he was one of the best catchers that I remember back at Yankee Town. I was growing up.
So duly noted. A motion,
So moved.
Mr. Ronda, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy, any discussion?
We can't let this one go without changing something in it also. Second, whereas Mr. Reset has not worked in that position before. I checked with Mel to make sure. And also, the committee has recommended, and I've talked with the committee, the $10 an hour wage that was different from what we looked at in work session. If Mr. Reset had been an employee previously, I would not be in favor of cutting his salary. We haven't done it to any of our other employees, but since he is a new hire, I think it's only fair that we have a policy going forward that our temporary seasonal people don't make more than our full part-time people we have working for the town of Plattsburgh. It's a good policy.
Therefore, the hourly rate should be,
$10 an hour, just as it says in the resolution.
okay,
We discussed this with the committee, and we discussed it with department head, and we would not necessarily recommend that at this point, but we'll look at policy.
Mel's recommendation, I should say, when I did talk to her this afternoon, she was recommending Mr. Reset start at $1 an hour less than the person that he was replacing from last year. And initially I had told Mel that I thought it was a good idea. Talking to the committee, I have to concur with the committee's recommendation that we should start we should have a practice whereby our temporary help does not make more than our part-time.
There are some temporary that have the skills that are needed that we may have to pay more than a temporary. That we need to discuss in policy.
I agree. Do we have any other discussion on Resolution 129? So we removed the previous, we got the end. Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Bennett,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Ron Bennett,
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 130, approving recommendation to hire Alex Provost in the Highway Department. Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Highway Superintendent has requested to hire on a temporary basis Alex Provost to fill in for Highway Department employee, for a Highway Department employee who has been out on workers' compensation. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board supports the superintendent's recommendation as indicated, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer and the highway superintendent. Do we have a motion? Mr. Lemoy, second Mr. Wood. Any discussion?
The resolution doesn't cite a rate of pay. I don't know if we have it in our.
1768.
MEO2.
As per contract.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Is that with that included? Is that included, the 1768?
No,
It's in the letter.
it just clarifies
It's in the
it's
letter.
in the letter.
He can't be hired less than that because it's a team student.
I understand the contract, I just
No,
wanted
it's
to.
not an amendment to the resolution.
Okay. Yes.
Mark Bennett,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Ron Bennett.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 131, request for an additional street light on LaBear Street.
I'll read. Whereas Plattsburgh Town Board has received a request to authorize the installation and activation of an additional street light on LaBear Street to improve safety and accessibility for drivers and pedestrians, and therefore be resolved, the Town Board does hereby authorize the installation and activation of an additional street light on LaBear Street identified as pole 8-1 near house number 29, and it is further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to have New York State Electric and Gas energize said street light with any expense to be paid from the Treadwell's, I think that's supposed to say Treadwell's Mills Lighting District, and that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer of the Building and Grounds and the budget officer and the Building and Grounds Department head. And I would suggest we want to change the language that refers to the Treadwell's Mills Lighting District, and it should say the Consolidated Lighting District.
That's very important. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Renner, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy. As amended, any further discussion?
Tony, when does the consolidated lighting district take effect?
Town, pardon?
The consolidated,
Town of, yeah, I was gonna say, Town of Plattsburgh Consolidated Lighting District.
I'm not sure if that's effective prior to January 1 or if just the billing changes take place January 1.
Whichever, it needs to,
Right, we'll clarify.
if not, it should be Treadwell's Mills then.
Treadwell's Mills if
Until
it's
that-
not
yeah.
consolidated, right.
I offhand just don't know. Need
Yep.
to check the documentation.
Okay.
But we will amend to whichever is legally current.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood, Mark Manick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gord Renada.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. I will keep this aside to give Councilor Wood a chance to enter his vote for the record, if that's okay with everyone.
Yep.
In fact, there he is. Mr. Wood, we just did a roll call. I hadn't realized you had left the
Oh, that's
left
okay.
flank.
It's all right.
We want to record your record, though, your vote for
I'm
the
not
record.
voting,
Pardon?
not voting,
You're abstaining?
yes.
Okay. Thank you. Resolution 132, junkyard license for 225 Ruger Street, non-compliance.
Whereas the town clerk has received a renewal application and fees for a license to operate a junkyard business from Ed Champagne Jr. at 271 Ruger Street. And whereas Steve Imhoff, code enforcement officer, has completed inspection of the junkyard and the applicant is not in compliance with local law number 6 of 1984 and is in violation of section 8 of the town local law. Now therefore it is resolved, the code enforcement officer for the town of Plattsburgh will revisit and inspect the property of the applicant, and when he is in compliance with the violations and local law, he will then issue a letter to the town board with his findings. Be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the budget officer, town clerk, and the codes department.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renner, second.
Second.
Mr. Lemoy, any discussion?
Just for the clarity of the resolution, if you don't mind, in the first resolved, second line, it says, and when he is in compliance, I think we should specify when the applicant is in compliance. Because it mentions the code enforcement officer, and then it says he is. I'd like it to read the applicant.
Where was that again? Second line of first?
First resolved, in the second line, it's got property of the applicant and when applicant is in compliance.
Yeah.
I see, he does, I guess I missed, he does have applicant in there, but I appreciate applicant
The
being
problem
placed
is
one more
that
time.
right after local law where they use the pronoun he, they should say the codes enforcement officer
Right,
will then issue a letter to town board with his findings.
That would
He
be
would
better.
appear to refer back to Mr. Champagne, and that's not who's gonna
Yeah.
issue the letter.
I just changed the other heat of when the applicant is in compliance, when the applicant is in compliance with violations of local law.
Okay, when I,
You will then, you're
The
talking
code
about the-
enforcement officer will,
That's-
okay, just for the record, let me read that resolved as I've been trying to capture from the discussion. Resolve, the code enforcement officer for the town of Plattsburgh will revisit and inspect the property of the applicant, and when the applicant is in compliance with the violations and local law, the code enforcement officer
Mhm.
will then issue a letter to the town board with his findings. That
Reads much
seem to work for
better.
everyone? A
Much
little more clarity. A lot of pronouns could be misinterpreted. Any other
Agnes
discussion?
would be-
does a copy of this need to go to the person?
That will be arranged. We haven't done that as part of. Usually the codes department or the clerk would then contact the applicant with their license because he issues it.
Very good.
So we haven't had that need. I can assure you we will get that message to the applicant. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
Yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
Gord Renada.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. If there's any other business this evening to be transacted, I know there are some items we might want to deal with further at a later time. But if there is no other, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn.
Do you want to go into executive session regarding litigation?
No. I'm sorry, counsel. Do you want to?
I thought that's what you wanted.
Well, we had discussed that, and
Okay,
I've got a feeling,
all right, I understand.
okay. Any other business or potential business?
I make a motion and we adjourn.
Second? Second on the motion?
Second.
Mr. Renner, we can't adjourn.
I thought Mr. Wood did.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I heard something, but I didn't, that's why I called for the second. I have Mr. Renner down, did Tom?
That's fine.
Oh, you
I really don't need to be recorded that way. It's all right.
You'll yield your second to the counselor. Any discussion on that motion? A roll call, please.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Manick,
yes.
Paul Lemoy,
Yes.
George Renner,
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, we'll stand adjourned at 7:18.